Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the movie Den of Thieves on Netflix until May 31st. So, I'd heard some things about this. I'd actually also seen it kind of on TV and kind of saw the end of it, and I'm like, you know what, this is going off Netflix soon. Let me kind of check this out. They also have the sequel in there, but after watching this, I'm not that interested in the sequel. This came out in 2018. Let me just check to make sure. Yes. It's like 140 minutes. So, 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I felt that was too long. So, this has Gerard Butler in it and... Let's see. O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's... Let's see. Yeah, Ice Cube's son. Oldest son. And this is done as kind of like your typical kind of heist kind of movie. You've got Donnie on the one side with the rest of the group trying to do this Federal Reserve heist. And then you have Gerard Butler on the other side as this sheriff's kind of thing. It wasn't really quite sure of what it was until kind of at the end. And even then, there's some parts where it's like Gerard Butler has like this tactical vest on that doesn't have sheriff on it, and the rest of them do, and then at a certain point his does have sheriff on it. It's kind of strange in kind of consistencies of like, what? The best kind of parts of this are when the heists are pretty much either in the planning stages, kind of like your Ocean's movies, and when they're being executed. Other than that, it focuses mainly on padding and filler. And I don't say that lightly. They do stuff to pretty much try and fill in Gerard Butler's kind of backstory, mainly with his family. I mean, we pretty much see that his sheriff's department is pretty much run kind of like a gang, and they just do gang shit. Like, there's no real kind of difference. I understand kind of moral complexity and stuff like that, but it's mainly like, okay, these guys want to rob the Federal Reserve by pretty much taking the money that would normally just be shredded and banking off with like $30 million. It's like, okay. And then these guys just being kind of dicks and wanting to do anything they can to get all these unsolved cases done in one kind of shot. And he's just being a asshole to his family. That's pretty much all you get. You see him trying to be a good father, visiting his daughter at school and everything like that, but he goes to strip clubs. He's pretty much acting like an asshole. He fucking eats a donut off of a crime scene where one dude was killed. It's like, holy shit. That's pretty much what gets the ball rolling and puts them kind of on Donnie's kind of crew. And see, that's the thing. It's kind of like a spoiler, but it's played off that Pablo Schreiber's character, Merriman, is the one that's in charge of the bank heist gang. But at the end, we get the twist that Donnie is the one that came to him with this whole Federal Reserve thing. He was kind of working at this bar where a lot of people congregate, people from the Federal Reserve, and everything like that, and getting all the kind of intel, and he's the only one that pretty much makes it out of it. Because we start off and we see that they are trying to, what we think is, rob this kind of armored truck. However, their objective is to get the armored truck to do their whole kind of plan with the whole Federal Reserve. We get the sheriff's department pretty much going through and understanding that they're ex-Marine people. One of the people dies within the armored truck heist, and we see that they pretty much pump and try and use Donnie as the wheelman, as their kind of inside information person. And it's just the twist comes at the end, and it's like, oh, these people that were kind of part of the crew but really weren't, were pretty much Donnie's crew, as he pretty much had jetted off to, is it London? Yes. And trying to do a diamond exchange at the end of the movie. They're the bones of a really good heist movie here, but it really gets in the way of itself, taking itself kind of too seriously, it goes too long for the 2 hours and 20 minutes because of the padding. I wish we had focused more on the back and forth, especially if you're going to do two kind of anchored stories. The police side and the heist kind of side. That's what I think makes the George Clooney kind of ocean movies work. They are definitely anchored within the Danny side, but also the Terry Benedict side in like the first one, or with Toulour in the second one, and then of course Banks in the third one. We get to see it from those kind of competing angles, and there isn't really any kind of extraneous filler. You understand what you're kind of going into and going through this whole kind of thing. You don't know how the twists and turns are going to go until you see them kind of go back again, and then it helps to rewatch it to see this is what this was kind of doing. This, I don't really need any kind of rewatch or whatnot. I'm like, oh, okay, it was him kind of doing this, and it focuses more inordinately on Gerard Butler's kind of character and trying to flesh out things that it feels is more important. I mean, it's value add for his character to know that his home life is not going well because he is just so focused on his job and what that kind of brings out to. However, that needs to be tied more effectively into what's going on in the main story. We just pretty much see him acting like an asshole. And it's towards the end where it's like, not towards the end, but like it's towards going through the movie that we see the driven kind of nature of him wanting to do all these unsolved cases and bank heists that are tied mainly to Merriman. And it's like, alright. The best kind of bit is when we start kind of actually getting into the Federal Reserve heist, where they go and they take a bank hostage and then blast a hole into it to kind of get into this underground area. And it's kind of a little bit weird. You'd think that they kind of took some money, but they really didn't. They had this money from this other job that they'd gotten, and they used that to kind of hide Donnie in as he kind of gets in and fiddles with the kind of Federal Reserve System that they kind of need to, and getting the kind of shredded bank note, or the notes that are going to be shredded. He gets 30 million kind of easily, but then of course things kind of go awry. Donnie gets captured by Gerard Butler's character Nick, and they set upon Pablo Schreiber's Merriman character, and we have this giant shootout in the middle of broad daylight. Like, these are the sheriffs, and they decide to initiate pretty much a tactical urban warfare thing when they really didn't need to. They were stuck, and you could have just effectively trapped them instead of just going, I'm gonna just shoot this whole fucking place up. It's like, sweet Jesus, fuck you. Like, they had the ability to set the tactical and the battlefield. They just decided, fuck that shit, and just did whatever kind of Rambo's even like, oh, doesn't even really kind of work it. Because it only works it because Rambo turned into that stupid action movie franchise where it's like, I'm going to shoot up everything. First Rambo's not like that. But then we pretty much just see everybody else on like Merriman's crew pretty much being taken out. Not even really Donnie's. Donnie escapes and of course gets us to the end where Nick pretty much puts it together. I don't even know how they really decided to make a sequel out of this. Now, I kind of really liked it when they were putting it together and seeing Merriman kind of walk them through what's kind of going on with the Federal Reserve, even though it's kind of a little bit weird. Like, okay, yeah, these bills were deleted from the system and slated for shredding. Wouldn't that make it just as hard to spend them as if you had taken the money that had pretty much still been in the system? It's kind of like trying to figure out the problem of fencing and trying to switch out that money and get it into a kind of circulatory state where it's not traced back to you. It's really kind of strange that I only really got that now as I'm like talking about it. See, that's why I kind of like either have a general outline, kind of have the idea of what's going on with the movie before sometimes weird ass fucking thoughts pop into my head. It's like, this kind of explains why you kind of need a fence for certain kind of shit. It's because wouldn't you be like, oh, we got this bill, it's like, there's like $30 million in circulation that really shouldn't exist. Why the fuck is this happening? That would be even more of a kind of a red, like, it would still be a red flag that would probably take on the system. It's like, Oh, all right. Um, and then of course Donnie pretty much escapes by utilizing his cover from being a takeout delivery person. But of course, he never signs in. He's put into this kind of box that Merriman and his other kind of cohort put him into, and then he kind of gets out with this fucked up. They actually, I don't even know how long it was because he makes a delivery in there one time and puts this other thing of delivery food in there. We don't know how long it's been. Could have been a week, could have been less than a week, but I mean, that food would have been stinking up the place depending upon how long it was. It's like, all right. Yeah, there's problems that kind of pop up into kind of like your other kind of heist movies, like your Oceans and whatnot. All right. Uh, that's mainly in continuity of certain kind of things, which I'm still able to kind of find in this one with the Gerard Butler tactical vest kind of thing. But never to the thing of like, you know what? That would have been there for a while and probably would have stunk up the place. Now, I don't think this is an overall bad movie. It's just there's a lot of problems with it that like pop up for me. I think the acting's well enough. Gerard Butler plays the asshole kind of cop dude very well. But then kind of goes into like, ah shit. He's always pretty much on the back foot, and even at the end where he's like, ah shit, I got had. Donnie does a pretty good job of being able to sell the whole kind of thing of being the not the hidden mastermind of okay, Merriman was going to take his ass out because he was getting fucked over by Nick and everything. Yeah, the actors weren't really any kind of problem in here. They were selling the content that they had. The content wasn't the best, but I've seen far fucking worse. I mean, when my thing is like Velocipaster, I'm like, okay, I've got ranks and files for what kind of goes on with like, this was a complete and utter waste of time. This wasn't a waste of time, but it was overly long with what was needed to be done. Especially when you're only mainly trying to characterize only Nick. And I mainly think that they did that because of Gerard Butler's star power and wanting to give him more content within the movie to justify his salary and everything. That's it, just how it feels to me. Because otherwise, I'm like, there's stuff here that could have been done to streamline, cut. I mean, you kind of understand that he acts like an asshole and this has negatively affected his family. Like, cool, get that. Because we have the wife leaving, we have him getting served papers for divorce, we have him showing up to sign papers for divorce and acting like a dick at their friend's house, we have him showing up at his daughter's school to kind of check in on her, and then that's about where it stops. It kind of falls off after that for some, well, mainly because it focuses on the actual important stuff of the heist and the ensuing battles that happen. And those battles were pretty well done. They were mainly gun-focused, so it's kind of a different kind of thing than just being completely melee-focused. But I think them doing what they did tactically shooting-wise worked out well enough. There weren't a lot of jump cuts where it's like, I don't understand who's shooting where or who's getting shot by what. They were actually really well filmed, I believe. It wasn't like I had no idea what was going on. You kind of get into every kind of character and how they kind of approach their situations too, that you'd usually normally see in kind of hand-to-hand ones as well, also with certain kind of tactical shooting like John Wick. That is important, and I think that's an important aspect to call out on this film, that it does it pretty well. You kind of understand Merriman's kind of tactical mentality, and it's even kind of different than some of his cohorts, especially within the beginning one, where one is kind of trigger kind of happy and takes out this one dude, and it's like, no, these people didn't need to die. What the fuck's going on? Him pretty much trying to justify that the dude was going for a gun, and other people like he dropped the coffee, man. What the fuck? Yeah, it's a kind of crazy scenario. And of course this is important because it goes into their kind of mentality as the crew. and their military kind of background, because they could have shot and killed the witness in the donut shop, but they didn't. They didn't go after anyone that was unarmed or who they consider kind of civilian kind of territory, which makes the shootout in the car backup traffic thing just kind of fucked up. Now, they were backed into that situation by the sheriff, so I don't really figure that as inconsistent characterization on their part, especially since everybody was conveniently kind of just kind of bucks out because, hey, we see this asshole popping out with a saw gun. I think I need to get out of this fucking kind of area. And it's just, that was just kind of strange. Now, it still kind of works within the characterizations that these guys consider themselves more of a kind of gang kind of thing, but we even see Nick's second in command kind of being like, what are you doing with this Donnie dude? Why are you acting this hard-edged to get these guys? You're acting like this complete asshole. But he's never kind of called out on it. Now, I don't know if that kind of changes within the second one, but I didn't get enough enjoyment out of this one to want to watch the second one. But if you enjoyed it, that's cool. I like good heist movies. Now, there is the difference between the Ocean's ones, which are more comedy-focused, and this one, which is more action-gritty kind of realism. I do need to watch into certain kind of other ones, probably like Reservoir Dogs, Heat, those kind of ones to get kind of more of a kind of hit on that. But when I'm watching a heist movie, I kind of want to see the back and forth. I want to see the ones attempting to get the heist, see their problems, see how they attempt to solve it, and those who are on the other side trying to stop these people from doing it. That usually back and forth. Now, that doesn't always mean that it needs to be law enforcement. It can also be another kind of criminal organization, kind of like Toulour in Ocean's 12, or the or even the place itself, understanding that they are going to try and be hit or whatnot. But I like that kind of back and forth, and this one was more lopsided, of course, because of how they were balancing out the story runtime, more in Gerard Butler's favor than in anyone kind of else, and then, of course, getting us into Donnie's kind of whole thing. I kind of really would have liked to see more of his kind of stuff through here to kind of balance out and understand what his objectives were, because I understand that would have fucked over the kind of twist at the end, but I don't think this movie needed a twist. I rather would have seen what was going on with Donnie and seeing him try to figure out how to still stay in control, maybe, of his crew after he is kind of the one being pressure put upon by the police. That could have really opened up some interesting kind of story avenues there. But I will look into other kind of heist movie kind of things. I mean, Oceans is my kind of top franchise for that because of just the humor and the amount of chicanery. I didn't even think I'd be able to use that one. Involved in those kind of movies and figuring out what they're doing to solve certain kind of problems and how their objectives can kind of change if new problems arise. That's always the kind of cool stuff that kind of pulls me in with it. Now, character world building, action. This is definitely more action focused. So if you're into that, definitely your set pieces are very well done here. You'll get pretty good out of that. World/plot, basic enough. I mean, and well executed well enough. Characters, they just stick pretty much within their archetypes. There's nothing that kind of really goes that much out of the way. And then, of course, we get more of a focus on Gerard Butler, which kind of pulls that down and the narrative down for me. So, I wouldn't recommend this completely off the bat, but if you need something, you could do worse. Just make sure you got the time investment for it, since it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes. But it is something that you could also kind of have on in the background. Just watch out for sound mixing, because it does get loud with certain kind of action scenes with the gunfire, explosions, and things that kind of go on. Now, that could also be within the setup that I've got, because that was kind of making things go kind of a little bit nutty. So those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.